Welcome to Combat Recapped. George Rush St. Pierre, also known as GSP, was a UFC welterweight champion and without a doubt the best welterweight of all time. He not only won the welterweight title, but also the middleweight belt, making him a rare two-division UFC champion. He was also a megastar, especially in his own Canada. Born on May 19, 1981, George St. Pierre started martial arts to protect himself from a school bully. Little did he know that it would mold him into one of the greatest fighters of all time. GSP's initial martial art was karate, but as time progressed, he expanded his arsenal to include wrestling, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and boxing. With his good looks and huge fan base, it's no surprise the UFC saw George as a potential star. In a January 2004 fight, he defeated Caro Parisian by unanimous decision. In June 2004, just 5 months later, he defeated Jay Heron in the opening round of his second UFC fight. The UFC then booked him to face Matt Hughes for a vacant championship. The previous champion, BJ Penn, was stripped of his championship owing to his involvement in other promotions. It was GSP's third UFC fight, and he went up against Matt Hughes, a former champion with 40 MMA fights on his record. Hughes submitted GSP in the first round with a last-second armbar. This was GSP's first MMA loss. GSP learned an important lesson that helped him improve as a fighter. GSP went on to win 5 fights before another title shot, defeating Dave Strasser, Jason Miller, Frank Trigg, and Sean Shirk. Prior to his title fight, he faced former welterweight champion BJ Penn, who previously dethroned Matt Hughes. The fight ended in a close decision win for GSP, who remarked that it was a difficult fight since Penn had the speed advantage. There were some who thought Penn won, while others thought GSP won by a tiny margin. In 2006, the UFC offered GSP a second title shot, as well as the chance to avenge his lone loss in his professional MMA career. St. Pierre improved considerably from their first fight, scoring a second-round head kick that knocked Hughes out, establishing he is the undisputed welterweight champion. Many people predicted that when GSP won the championship, he would rule the MMA division for a long time. Matt Serra won the Ultimate Fighter comeback and was awarded an immediate title shot as a bonus. Serra was a tremendous underdog, and he was anticipated to lose. But Serra was able to cut GSP and end the fight quickly. GSP tried to evade, but Serra chased him down, and GSP was unable to regain his equilibrium. Serra pulled off one of the most spectacular upsets in UFC history with a first-round TKO. It was especially horrible because GSP had just won the championship and was making his first title defense. Because of Serra's injury, the UFC planned an interim title match between GSP and Matt Hughes. It was a trilogy, and GSP won via submission with an armbar to beat Hughes. In an undisputed championship fight, GSP was determined to avenge his second defeat, which he accomplished with ease. Serra was easily defeated, and the battle was won. He knocked Serra out in one round with a brutal knee to the body. After becoming a 2-time undisputed champion, he became the target of everyone in the division. It was not an easy task, but GSP was prepared to defend the belt. The welterweight class was largely regarded as the most talented in the UFC at the time. GSP was defending his long championship reign against John Fitch, a great wrestler on a 16-fight winning run. With Fitch's style of fighting, you'd expect Fitch would be the superior grappler, yet GSP appeared to be the better wrestler in the match, easily dominating, outstriking, and out-wrestling Fitch. To decisively win against an undefeated opponent shows that St. Pierre was at another level in his prime. St. Pierre next faced BJ Penn in a rematch. Unfortunately for BJ Penn, the duel this time was one-sided. GSP was a complete fighter who had grown. Although GSP occasionally struggled in the middle of his fight, he still managed to regain momentum and win. He went on to win unanimous decisions over Thiago Alves, Dan Hardy, Josh Koscheck again, and Jake Shields. He then faced natural-born killer Carlos Condit, who had recently won the interim title when GSP was injured. GSP had the fight under control until Condit hit a head kick that knocked him down. Many thought GSP's lengthy reign might be over, but he came back to win by decision, proving once again he was the champion. Condit was astounded by how quickly the champion recovered. GSP's decision to battle Johnny Hendricks was likely the most contentious of his career. Hendricks' heavy hands did major damage to St. Pierre's face, and the majority of the media, as well as Dana White, scored the fight in favor of Hendricks, while 2 judges ruled in favor of GSP, resulting in a split decision victory. Following his victory, GSP announced his retirement from the sport, citing health issues. He indicated that the harm done to his body was serious and that he was ready to depart. The UFC continued and Johnny Hendricks was given the vacant belt. GSP was basically considered retired at the time. GSP did not fight for 4 years. Many expected him to recapture his former belt, but that was not the case. GSP challenged Michael Bisping to a bout for the middleweight championship. The UFC approved the bout because GSP was still a major brand and never truly lost the belt. To win the UFC middleweight title, George St. Pierre submitted Michael Bisping. Bisping was the bigger man, and GSP was also suffering from ring rust. The fight was quite even, with GSP winning the early rounds while Bisping improved as the fight continued and even bloodied GSP while on his back. GSP built a trap that knocked Bisping out, using Bisping's wounded eye. After injuring Bisping, he took his back and locked in a rear naked choke that put Bisping to sleep. It was a memorable night for GSP, who became a 2-division champion after being absent for 4 years. Unfortunately, owing to ulcerative colitis, GSP chose to retire after earning the title. Although George had suffered 2 defeats, he went on to avenge both. He also successfully defended his title multiple times in what is commonly considered to be the most difficult division to compete in. GSP was also never found to be in possession of PEDs or steroids. For many, it is tough for a karate practitioner later in his career to improve his wrestling skills. GSP not only did this, but his takedown is largely considered to be one of the best. His jab is also recognized as one of the best in the sport, and he is largely regarded as one of the most well-rounded and complete MMA fighters in UFC history. He's also one of the few fighters to have retired victoriously. What makes GSP the greatest fighter of all time? Will the name George St. Pierre go down in history? Leave a comment down below. Thank you for watching Combat Recapped. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. See you in the next video.